Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in. As you can see, my setup is improving dramatically each week due to the fact that I've hyperfixated on this and have a large amount of photography equipment. This week we have some blue lighting around the edges. I have a setup of way too many lights. It is very, very, very warm in here. Much better camera and a microphone that hopefully won't be as awful at picking up all of my breathing, and finally a palette camera, which is very, very exciting, so you guys can see me tapping at all of the dry paint. Today I am just going to focus on adding the highlights, the white, and I'm trying to make a rule for myself that I'm not allowed to use any other colors so that I don't keep getting distracted and adding more to other parts of the painting. Will we stick to that? Probably not, but if I do stick to that, I might also be able to start a different painting today, which you can see some trials for behind me because I have a much better camera quality now. And these will be an artwork that is like kind of focused on spoon theory and putting that into something kind of artistic, a bit of an abstract spoon thing, and I will show you guys the reference for that later. Okay, this should be my oil and that should be my solvent. This is the amount of solvent that we're down to today, which is super exciting. So the camera is a lot further away now. Really good, really good for the fact that I have so much more painting to do. So look forward to me running out of that, I guess. I'm going to start with, oh, you can actually see it too. This is my zinc white. I'm going to mix in a far more efficient way if I use the oil and the bigger brush, because these nail brushes are teeny tiny. But you can actually see now that I will be mixing in this white. Can you see this corner? Yes, you can. So this is my zinc white. These are my teeny tiny nail brushes. This is my tiniest oil brush. I'm trying to mix that with the oil. Now we're gonna hope that even though I last painted a couple days ago, it is dry enough for me to put more layers on top of this without it all mixing together. So it might be a little precarious, but we're gonna bear with me. If you guys can't see it all, or if the lighting gets terrible, just tell me and I'll adjust. I am today, because I make really smart decisions, wearing pants I actually like because I was really comfortable within them and I didn't want to take them off, so that might become an issue later on, but for now it's okay. I'm just trying to tap this white in here, and as I've been saying the last few streams, I know I shouldn't be using just white at all in my paintings, but I don't care, and it's hard to do highlights like this without more colours in my bank, so we'll get there. Amazing. You can see now because you can actually see my palette. Oh my lord, I'm already dropping things. I'm gonna definitely get paint on these pants. How am I gonna protect my pants? Towel? You guys can't see it in the shot, so that's fine. I might make a YouTube video soon about my setup because it is very precarious. I have a very large diffuser in front of me, in front of a light that I have from Amazon from a long time ago. These are just things I had in the house because I love photography things. Yes, the camera studying. I can see that, but I thought it was just it might just be my internet. Because it is coming through very clearly to this. But interesting. Okay, I'm gonna try and troubleshoot this. I might, because I think it might be an output issue. It also might be due to the fact that I have several things plugged into my MacBook. So what we might try doing is just try closing some tabs, and we'll see if that just fixes the issue. Because running this on a MacBook that is 6 years old, probably not the easiest way to do it, but maybe we're just going to have to accept that today's stream is going to look a bit more like an animation than I want it to. Okay. Are we smoother? I'm still stuttering, so I'm wondering if it's a camera issue. You know what? My shutter speed might be too low. You guys are going to get to see my little camera things. Because what should be it? Ooh. Okay, it's not a camera issue. It's definitely a computer issue. Yeah, I can see it stuttering. It might just be a Wi-Fi issue. Okay, well, because I mucked with the settings the other day, so I changed the output. And don't worry, the camera dialog will go away in a second. Snap sensitivity, overflow, output. A very scary set of This might be something I can only troubleshoot off stream. How's this camera doing? Is this camera stuttering as well? If I just like move my hand. Can we get some confirmation in chat if this camera is stuttering? Okay. Alright, it might be better. I think it was just that I had too many apps open and I was asking my computer for too much, considering I have camera 1, camera 2, and a microphone plugged into it now. Maybe it was just too much for my MacBook, and I can't blame it for that. Okay. Thank you. Alright. Because I wouldn't have noticed, so I appreciate that. Yes, I'm trying to just do highlights today. I think without highlights, it's going to look terrible, but every time I try to do the highlights, I damage a perfectly good piece of art by going in and doing more. So we're just going to stick to the zinc white, hopefully, and the oil, and just try and paint over the top and hope to God that it doesn't mix together with the oil paint I added a couple days ago on my impromptu stream. That's looking okay. You guys will have to tell me if you can see the painting well enough, because I know I keep sitting in front of it. I am going to put this towel over my lap because I do like these pants a lot. You'll also have to tell me if my mic is too quiet or too loud, because I haven't listened to it properly. Okay, I think when I sit here, the lighting is slightly better. You can't see as much, but the lighting is better. So someone in chat is just going to have to tell me if they prefer it one way. Maybe my loyal chatter Zorona will tell me which way looks better. Yeah, well, I'm really happy with how the glaze came out because that was luck. So I think it really is coming together at this point. But I'm losing some momentum with feeling like this painting is going anywhere. It's just so hard to look at paintings and know that at the end of the day it is supposed to just be a painting. Because I want it to be hyper realism. I want it to be like devastating, but that's not how most paintings work, and I know that. I also keep not cleaning my brushes, which isn't very good of me. I think the fact that I've stopped looking at the reference just so I can monitor my chat on my phone has been very, very good for my artistic process, because I'm found myself prior to this like sticking very, very hard to the references, even at this end point when I could like add some stylistic aspects to it. So I think that that's good, because I'm like losing the reference a little bit, but in a way that is actually artistically interesting. Yeah, it is. I think it might be 30 seconds, but what we'll have to do is I can type it in chat myself. Or I'll do it on my phone, and you can see me doing it, and then you'll be able to see what the delay is. Because then you'll actually understand why I'm not responding as quickly as I should, because it is partially me not seeing the message, and it's also partially me being like, what is going on? I think I need to work out how to fix text to speech so I can like hear it, but I also know that when I'm on, like, I have like a train of thoughts. If I have text to speech interrupting me, I will just lose it all. Okay, I like how that highlight's looking. This was an accident, but I do have like this highlights at the side, and I'm going to try and add to them because there is some pink here that I don't really want to be there, but I don't want to paint around it with the black, and I kind of want it to have that like ethereal glow. Yeah, that's doing what I want it to. I think it's also starting to glow a bit more on camera again, so that makes me very, very happy. I'd like to finish this painting before I run out of solvent, because both because solvent is expensive and I don't really want to put in the effort to go and get it, but also because I think when I started I was using the solvent a little bit on these like trails that I have in the background as well, but yeah, things are falling down again. I put up these lights today, and you can't see it because it is behind my palette camera, and they've just been giving me the absolute shits for no reason. They just fall down at every chance, so I've been taping them up, and most of it is fine, but because I didn't do the end, where is my tape? Oh, here's my tape. Because I didn't do the end, it's fallen down, so I'm just going to tape that up, and then we'll get back to painting. Yeah, I really can't keep my train of thoughts, especially when I have ADHD and painting at the same time. And I guess also when my lights are falling down, which is really good, really awesome, really convenient. I am happy with the lighting today though. I think that's great. Next stream, I have some musician friends that I have contacted, and also a friend with an incredible love for making playlists who is going to be helping me out with getting some licensed and royalty-free music, so we can have a bit of background to this, because I think that that'll get more people wanting to watch the coziness, and then I don't have to talk as much. Yeah, well, my diffuser is being held up by one sneaker on either side, and it's kind of just here, and it's massive because I really have kind of a bad understanding of proportion. When I ordered it and it said 130 centimeters, I was like, is that going to be the circle, or is it going to be like the diameter? And then I was like, I guess Amazon always sends things really small, so maybe I should just order it in the biggest size, and then I'll have it for everything I need. And now it's just so big. But I got it because I wanted the reflections for photography, which is why my setup is worked out so well, because I have all of this stuff for photography, and I had to get literally just a capture card for my long time camera to kind of transition it into. Sorry, I'm getting really close, so I should be quiet because I've been talking from my computer. Now it's going to be ASMR. To kind of transition it into like a streaming camera. I have to get a dummy battery though, because you know, if this battery on this camera dies, there's truly, like, that's it, because I was using the other one earlier. I think it's got about 4 hours on it. I think it at least has the 2 in it that we need, because I think I'm finding that by 2 hours I get tired and less talkative, and I don't really want to be streaming anymore, so I think it's fine to cut it there. But yeah, definitely would prefer to have a dummy battery, because I also use this camera for like my active photography. I'm very much one of those ADHDs that has every possible artistic interest, which is why I wanted to stream, because I do love video making. But I mean, the real reason, and I think I've said this a few times, is because when I've done digital drawing and Procreate, it's just kind of picked up on what I was doing. It's made it a lot easier to ooh, sorry, I'm so locked in, it's so hard to focus and draw a straight line and talk at the same time. It's just too many things. What was I saying? Gone now. Trying to add these scratches back in, but I'm really scared every time I do this, because I know as soon as I start, I have a habit to just kind of like fix it and go back in over it, which is really annoying. I also feel like I'm losing the concept just a little bit, but I really loved painting like these light halos. I did a abstract kind of fairy painting a while ago, which I would show you guys, but it is in my boyfriend's room. I think it was a Valentine's gift. And that kind of, I did it with my, whatchamacallit? Palette knife, there we go. This one. It's kind of gross at the moment, but it was really, really awesome to just kind of do like textured art with. Oh, is my auto mod killing swear words in chat? Cause that's crazy. Oh wait, it censored dummy? That's crazy. That's so crazy. I'm so shocked by that. I'll have to fix that for next time. It's fine for now. Okay. Yes, that's okay. And then I'm going to try and add some texture down here. I'm so sad that I've only gotten the palette camera just as I've been able to actually, like, as I've made the rule to not use any other colours, because the mixing colours is definitely the most interesting part of this painting. There we go. Is that getting some texture? It's great to kind of be able to look at my camera and look at the painting from far away, because I can see what it looks like without having to get up and look at it from far, because I'm looking at it from too close for way too long. I can't even really experience it. I do feel like it needs more yellow in it again, but should I do that? Maybe I just add just a little teensy tiny bit of yellow, and I forget about the fact that this is exactly what happened last time. We just got just the teeniest little bit of yellow, just around the light. Yeah, that's what I want. Gotta give it that like chroma look. Okay, well the oil is separating the colour in a really weird way, but I'm gonna ignore it. Well, see, in my head, right, this is a highlight. I'm just not sticking to one colour. You know what, like, I'm impulsive, and I think I need to understand that that's never going to change. It's just part of who I am as a person. And I think that that's okay. Because if I wasn't impulsive, I wouldn't be streaming. Because it was an impulsive decision to start streaming. That has the yellow there. Yeah, there we go. See, the yellow is usually very subtle in any photo or like portrait or anything, but I think it is really important in giving that kind of glow effect, because despite what a camera might technically pick up, when you see something with your eyes and it has that kind of ultraviolet to it and then the yellow around it, that's when it starts to glow. Yeah, this is smoothing out my center as well. Okay, I'm not upset about this yet. I love this step of working with the oils when I do it right. It's so calming and everything just blends together. I'm gonna have to varnish it though. So that's a stream to look forward to in 6 months, because that's how long you have to wait to varnish an oil painting apparently. And I'm not going to get it wrong. Even though 6 months is so far away. Okay, is that too much? It's really hard to kind of get that balance between the amount of oil on your brush and the amount of colour that you actually want to use. Because when I have too much oil, it just kind of like drips everywhere. Doesn't apply or anything, but if I want to put in like a thin layer without using the solvent, because the solvent kind of just, I found, dissolves the paint underneath a little bit, then this is how I have to do it. But you can see as I add these like tiny littlest bits of yellow that it really gets, and it's picking up the red from before, but it really starts to glow more. Like a candle as well. Really feels more candle-like. You guys kind of might not be able to see that well, so I'm just gonna do... Oh, now I'm right in the lens. Oh no, that's good. If I do this, I think you guys can kind of see it. There might need to be some zooming, and maybe I will have to have an up-close shot with this camera. It's kind of precariously placed, but if I keep it... Oh wow, that is so warm. Such an issue. If I do this... Oh, it's upside down. This way. There we go. Here's a shot, an up-close shot for you guys. In the corner, really precariously, but much better than last time. You can kind of see that yellow coming in the center here. See, I can do this now. It's still shining in a weird way, but still. Where the yellow kind of adds to that, like, chromatic aberration or something. But yeah, it's so hard to see because the reflections really take away from it, and that's why I need to varnish it. But the light is pretty diffused. Then you can just kind of see the up-close detail that I've done. If I move slow enough, you can kind of appreciate. But yeah, the yellow is really what makes it glow, despite kind of the shadows and things. It's hard to show you because it does look like it's actually glowing just from the background lights. Oh my god. Okay. Where was it before? Here? Oh, close. Oh, dark now. I've upset it. Okay, there we go. Yes, it looks so cool and I love it so much. And if I stop now, maybe I should. I won't though! Now, where is my paper towel gone? I should have paper towel because I need it, and also because I used it not 2 days ago. Probably even less. But it's fine. Thank you so much, Zora. I appreciate the compliments. A lot of this is genuinely, like, when I start on the next painting, gonna feel like, how the hell did I even get here? Because it has taken me so long to do. We're just gonna blur it with my finger because I don't care about the rules. Yeah, I think that's doing what I want it to. It's a little more yellow than I intended, but I can go over that probably. This is the process I'm starting of going back to square one, but I do think I am still like adding highlights and glazing, so that's okay. I think when I start trying to do thicker bits that aren't white, that'll become a problem, but for now, this does make it have that kind of like candle-like glow, because it did look like a light, but now that yellow really makes it have that, the yellow ochre really makes it have that candle like hue to it. That's the word I've been looking for. I love the chromatic aberration or whatever it's called, and if any of my photographer friends end up in chat to correct me, and this is the point that you've joined, I will be sad. Yeah, I think a lot of artists say that it's important to learn all the art rules until you understand why the rule is that way, and then you can break them. And I think that is a very valuable piece of advice, because, you know, I learned that when I was doing aspects of this painting and I wanted to just make it white because it kind of looked white on camera, there is way more variation in the white. Like, this looks like just white, but it's actually like clearly like a grey and a brown and a bunch of different colours that are quite dark. But the best thing for my kind of general colour theory really was kind of going over a photo in my digital art and then just like looking at all the pixels and just kind of expanding them to like cover a bigger area. Oh, that looks awesome. I'm so happy with that. Okay, I'm trying to give it some edge there. Is my Discord not telling people that I'm streaming because I'm not online? Because people keep texting me. Also, chat, is the chat on screen clear enough? Because it's at 50% opacity and I'm wondering if you can actually see it. Or if it's just kind of redundant that it's there. In which case I can fix it next time. I could probably fix it now, but I won't. So I'm setting expectations. Yeah, I love going in with this yellow. Because it makes everything kind of orangey and it's so bright against the kind of homogeneity of the red. I think I'm gonna have to get more paint colors though, because most of my paint colors are red and it seems like my next painting might be blue, though I do have a really good shot of a comedian called Jean Marco, which you should check him out if you haven't, because he's so funny and he's like, he has specials on YouTube and things and it's great, and he probably doesn't need a shout out at all, like he's well known. But I love his work and he gave me permission to paint him from the photos that I took, so I might do that next because it has got a bunch of red in it. Though it has a weird amount of green in it, so I might have to get another green, because the only green that I have is, other than these teeny tiny greens that I have in here, which are not very pigmented, so make it very hard. Oh yeah, here it is. This is the only green I have, which is a really weird color of green to be the only green that I have. Maybe you'll actually see it better if I have it here because it's more in focus, but this is the color. When I reach towards you, you can really see how far the camera is. I'm not sure what Zoran was talking about, so I'm going to pretend I didn't see it. And everyone's just going to forgive me for that. Ooh, I like the yellow there. I'm getting crazy, guys. I'm getting crazy with this use of yellow. Going absolutely insane. This yellow I remember was in the reference because there is a like reflection here, and I was like, how am I gonna paint that? Because I was trying to paint it in the like actual colors as I went, and it made it a lot easier to just kind of let it dry and then do it properly. Who knew? Who knew oil painting techniques were intentional? Probably a lot of really, really good oil painters. I'm just gonna smudge it away when I'm upset by what it's doing. Oh, I like that. Oh, the window. Yeah, I think I might put it up to like 85 next time, but I was just trying to make it a bit smaller. And like less in the way of the painting, because when I changed the camera angle, it was a lot. So I think that did that. God, I love using acrylic brushes at this stage instead of oil brushes. They're so good. And it's probably just because the acrylic brushes are actually where I have valuable brushes, because all of my paint brushes that are oil are really quite cheap. And my year 12, I used a lot of acrylic brushes for oil painting because I thought that they were just nice, and I didn't really understand why they had to be different. Because when you oil paint, it's really important that the paint can kind of, or the oil at least, can kind of absorb into your brush. And if it can't, you'll have like an issue with. I am gonna come in with other colors now because I am fucking crazy. Is this visible? Yes. Okay. This is my Spectrum Crimson, which is such a pretty color. I love it so much. And I have white on this brush at the moment, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put more oil on. This is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to mix on the palette a bit to try and get a bit more of that red over this kind of part, because it was really fading. Okay, it's a little too much oil now. I'm just going to panic and blot it off. Darker. That is dry. Ah, I found one. This one's kind of dry. My Reeves one's dry so quickly. Fuck. Where was I? See these, right? They look like they're still wet, and they are underneath, but they get really weird, and I hate wasting oil painting like this, but I'm just not good at keeping track of it. Is that the colour that I want? I think I want this to be more purple. Okay, I'm going to use burnt umber? No, raw umber. Is this what I want? No, I want raw umber, and then I'm going to mix it with crimson. God, it's hard to find these. Raw umber. And Alizarian Crimson. Okay. Exactly, my fabled pat of the palette, because I saw, the reason that I've done it like this is for two reasons. First of all, I saw an artist that kind of set up his palette like this, and I thought it was really cool. But also laziness. And I think that we should appreciate laziness more. I think it plays like a really, really great factor in just kind of general life. Where did I put that other colour? Holy crap. There. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to put the crimson here. You can tell that this crimson, these Reeves colours are cheaper for a reason, because they are so much less pigmented. Because when you put a colour to the palette like this, and it's immediately so bright, even though it's crimson, compared to this, and I can just show you on my brush. But that side is the cheaper, like the very, very bright. And then this side on the other side is quite dark. It means it gives you more variations in hue, so you can actually make more colours with it. Though I want this bright colour because I'm going to be mixing it with this very dark colour here to get kind of a purpley. Is that doing what I want? Yeah. Awesome. Good. Great. And then we're going to mix in more oil again, because we're at a stage where most of this is really just tiny little glazing bits. Okay, well now it's too oily. It needs to be browner maybe. Okay, this side should be quite brown, but I don't think that might not extend to the center. I think it needs a Payne's Grey. Favorite painting color. It's so versatile. It looks like black, but it's the best for shadows because it's actually blue. I need to get the actual Art Spectrum one, but I love this Reeves one. I love how it's lighter, and I don't have any complaints. I'm going to mix on the palette again because yeah, that's purple. Or maybe too purple. I'm just struggling with this brush, I think. Thicker brushes are really, really great for the start, but by the time you get to the end of the painting, it is very good to use acrylic brushes because instead of kind of damaging the painting underneath, you can get these really soft, flat glazes, which I don't think anyone talks about, and it's probably because all of the professional oil painters actually have expensive brushes, so they don't get rough like my Office Works ones do, but I think we can respect using things to the end of their life and not wanting to spend more money on others, even though I keep making impulse purchases. I mean, I did just buy a mist lens filter, and now you might be asking me, what is that? And it's a really cool lens filter that has like a slight, it's like tiny crystals in the glass, and it has like a haze effect. So instead of having to use like a smoke machine, it gives a haze effect to all your lights, which obviously isn't as efficient as a smoke machine. Sorry, I don't know why it got upset. God, that is warm. I'm so worried about what that's doing to the paint underneath it, but I don't have the energy to deal with it. Transparent Brown Earth. This is also a great color, but truly Payne's Grey. If you're gonna get a color outside of those starting colors, it's gonna be my suggestion if you want to do any like interesting color paintings. I did search up a while ago, like, on what materials do I need? How do I paint these natural shots? And so I got a bunch of like these reds, and that's why I have these reds. But now I'm realizing it's way more fun to do. There we go. That's the color I need. I just need to be a little thicker because I want it to be smooth, the finish, and it's kind of just scratching through, and that's due to my laziness earlier, but that's okay. Oh, and I'm gonna mix these two, because in theory the blue and the brown will give me like a purpley undertone, but in a really dark color. Yes, because what I'm finding in this painting is if things don't have kind of that red or purpley undertone, they just get really, really flat and kind of gross. Whereas that looks like really full and kind of part of the painting. I think it is too brown for where it is, but it does look like part of the painting. It doesn't stand out. It looks more realistic to like the red light kind of undertoning everything, which I think looks really good. And I'm going to pull more of this colour that I mixed over here as well. Because I just want to fill in these kind of bristle marks. Well, you won't be able to see it from where you guys are, but there's these little marks of where I've clearly gone in with a thinner colour, and then the solvent has just blown through everything beneath it, and it has these little scratch lines of like pink. Yeah, I need more of this Payne's Grey. I'm thinking I might do a photoshopping stream soon, because I have some photos to edit, and I do need to get that done. So I'm currently thinking that I might spend some time on the stream next week or maybe the week after that editing some photos, if you guys are interested in seeing that. Just trying to pull the white down a bit because I do remember that it was slightly lower. Because it's getting a little brown in the center there. Here. Yes. So I'm just going to pull this zinc white through here a little, really light strokes with my acrylic paintbrush, and just try and lighten it up a bit. And then after I do the other side, I'm going to get some red as well to kind of blend that line if I want to. Or does it look more realistic? No, I think it needs to blend the line. I keep scratching my cheek and getting my glitter off. This is so sad. Yes, but just the lightest kind of like touch of paint that I'm trying to like wipe off a bit as well. So like just literally this much paint. Oh, sorry you guys, it's kind of looking at that. No, I'm sorry, it's going to be part of the shot because it's really precarious otherwise. And then I'm just trying to pull this like wider bit down a little to where I know that that kind of top of that candle line was supposed to be. Yeah, and that immediately that already looks far more realistic than before. Most of my Photoshop content will definitely just be color grading, because I haven't got any photo shoots of anything really interesting that I want to do like the really fun surrealism stuff with yet. And it, you know, part of me is like, do I even want to build those skills, because surrealism is kind of dying to AI a little bit in the worst way, because it was absolutely my favorite photography art form before AI decided to be used by a bunch of people for creative purposes, because it's accessible. Okay. I'm thinking I might have like a little stream where my topic of conversation is AI and marketing soon, but my recent learning topics have been more focused on photography and just the kind of general impact of light on things. I've been looking a lot about like photography in low light environments and trying to make sure that I'm actually switching my lenses. This reference photo I did take with my phone though, so it's also, I mean, I truly do pick the most expensive art forms I can, and I hate that, but they're just so much fun. It just happens to be where I ended up having all of my interests. Yeah, I was gonna pull the red down, but I'm noticing that actually the grey looks a lot more realistic. So what I'm doing is kind of leaning into it, pulling that grey down and up a bit, because I'm really like, I do think it looks quite good. And then I'm trying to keep my brush strokes small but also like directional, so that all of the brush strokes are kind of giving that vibe of it, you know, the light coming up and out. Okay, it's getting a little too black now, but I am going to bring the grey up still, because it definitely was far too pink before. I think in the reference there's probably far more detail than this, but like color wise, because obviously I'm not trying to do hyperrealism anymore, because that's insane, and I realized that's insane for at least a while of practice. I should post on my other story to say that I'm streaming. As long as I am forgiven for doing so. Very good. Okay. Oh, I have to reopen the Twitch thing so I can see. There we go. Amazing. Very good. Okay. I'm happy that my camera's lasted this long though. Yes, I think just pulling this grey in is giving it a more realistic effect. So I'm committing and kind of pulling it down and trying to make sure I'm keeping that circular angle of the cup. It's so hard to do this because it's so scary that I'm just gonna fuck up all of these colors. Like this rainbow in the middle, which I'm not sure if you guys can see from where you are, but it's so pretty. I'm so happy with it and I don't want to fuck it up. But I do think I need to pull the browns up a little because this is quite pink and that's just not what anything's ever looked like in any reference I've taken in an environment like this. I think I'm just going to go back to this colour that I made before with the transparent brown earth and the Payne's grey so that I can kind of mix it in a little and do some tiny little strokes and then try and get it off the brush and then mix it in with the oil that's on the painting. This is making it quite brown, so I might need more of the Payne's grey. It's just so scary that I'm going to darken it too much and then I'll go back to square one, which is what I do every single time I do this painting, and it's why I've been working on it for months. But maybe today's the day that it all changes. Who knows, chat? Maybe today's the day that I can move on from this painting and stop showing people the same emerging painting over and over again. I think that the grey might be too grey now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the crimson in. This crimson is too light. I might use... I think I want transparent brown earth. Do you think this is my transparent brown earth? Is it? Is this dry? No, it is good. Okay. And then I'm going to... I don't want to use it here, but put that down there, and then... Ooh, where was I? Oh yes. I think I have to mix it in here, but it's quite orange, which I'm really worried about. So I'm going to use more of this red. Because I don't want to lose kind of the variation in colour that I have with the white and stuff. But I also don't want it to look so unnaturally grey. If that makes sense. So I'm just going to try and mix it into everything here. It's kind of getting a sunset vibe to it, which I think is very fun, but definitely not true to the reference. Unless I put white over it. I think if I put white over it, that'll save me. The good thing about doing photography in the same kind of general time as painting is that when I'm photoshopping things, I can actively learn from like color correcting stuff and trying to make the sky look blue, what looks natural and what doesn't. Because when you're painting, you can kind of like lose it a bit. Here it is. Ooh. Every time I touch this tiny little camera, it gets warmer. I'm so worried about my actual camera. It's fine though. Everything will be fine. Okay, and then I need to pull that tiny bit of Payne's Grey, a little bit of transparent brown earth, and a little bit of crimson, I think. I am mixing on. Oh my god. Something is pulling on this. You guys are good there. Right? No. Slightly better. You get less and less of a view every time I set you back up because I'm trying to put you behind the lip so it doesn't fall. Okay, this is the actual colour that I was looking to create. Though I do prefer the sunsetty colours over here, so I'm just going to grab more crimson. I love crimson. Spectrum crimson. Alizarin crimson. It's all so fun. And so pretty. And I love that it kind of looks like blood, but it changes like in a painting like this, which has so much red. See, that is pulling away and that is becoming pink. And I know you can't see from where you are, but I promise you that that's the case. It's driving me nuts. See, I'm losing the white again. Far out. Okay. Okay, we're gonna stop. I'm gonna put my foot down. In a second, I'm gonna put my foot down. And I'm gonna actually do the highlights like I intended to do today. And only use white, as I'm supposed to be doing. Tiny little brush strokes, just kind of adding to the color here. Sorry, I'm getting distracted, but you guys will just have to forgive me for that. I'm trying to add back in those highlights, but keeping the luminosity of the lower colors. Because the titanium white is far more efficient, but it does pastelize things. It's getting kind of muddy now. I may have hit the oil painting wall with this one tonight. Because as soon as you kind of start adding those whites in again, it does like really muddy things up. Okay, I'm going to move down a bit. Just try and bring the crimson back into things. This Reeves Crimson, is that what I was using? I'm going to make sure I'm using Art Spectrum because it's actually separating the other colours. That's terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Spectrum Red is not the colour I want to use. Where is it? Spectrum Crimson. Here we go. I'm pretty sure that that's what I was using, but I want to make 100% sure. Oh yeah, that's different. That's much better. Alright, because it is... I swear to God the other one was... Yeah, there we go. The other one was truly, truly separating the paint. And this one's actually mixing into it. Wow. And that's why paint prices matter, I guess, folks. I've lost chat again. There we go. Trying to add this red back in just keeps making it darker. I feel as if I'm losing concept of where the saturation should stay in these kind of like washed out areas. And I feel as if it isn't supposed to be. Chat has been found. Hi, Jackie. It's so scary doing this. Every time I add this white back in, I feel as if I'm about to lose it all. I think it's working this time. I'm trying to do teeny tiny little bits so that it actually mixes into the tiny area instead of blending a bunch, because white is the ultimate blender in really every medium, and so it's a real issue when you try to use white to lighten things. I think it's also kind of bringing back that scratch texture to do it like this, so I am happy with that. Something about these reds though, like the way they've been formulated is consistently really weird. Like it's okay for the Art Spectrum, but the Reeves one is super weird. It's like separating, and I don't know if it's a me issue or if it's a paint issue. I do find I am consistently doing this tiny little paint motion in like the focal point of my paintings, because by the end I get so frustrated with the amount of paint that's mixing together. I just give up and do teeny tiny little dots. 1 second. Sorry for that. My sister was asking me about a tiny little badge, which truly had no necessity for this moment, but that's okay. That is alright. I'm not super sure how long I'll be streaming for tonight. I want to make sure I can get... Oh wow, that lag is really terrible at the moment. That was a good minute there. I want to make sure I can get my hours up, but I think that I have a lot of rules before I get to anything affiliate adjacent. I think I need more oil on my brush. Yes, I've been working on this one for a couple months maybe, which is frustrating because I definitely wanted to be done with it much earlier, but I've been trying to. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Be such a perfectionist about it that I'm losing kind of the aspects to the art process of like being able to know when to stop and like less is more and whatever. It's hard to know that if I'm losing those aspects of my paintings or if I am just not done though. Part of trusting the process becomes knowing when your process is actually over, and I really haven't been able to find that yet because I often feel like it's not finished, but it could be, and I don't know if that's my art style or not because I haven't been doing it for long enough to kind of discover that. I'm going to bring the white down a little bit here because this needs some blending because it looks really terrible, but it shouldn't lighten things up too much. I'm not even sure if you guys can see the tiny changes I'm making from where you are. So maybe the palette camera needs to be redirected to be the close-up camera, but I will learn. Oh, I love how the rainbow is actually coming through. I love when that accidentally works out. This ombre yellow truly is coming in clutch. It's really hard to use oil like this because I really want to thin it out, but if I thin it out too much it starts kind of sinking into the curves of the canvas in a really strange way, and it gives it this texture that I definitely know some artists love but is absolutely not my thing. But I do think I'm very happy with the light at the moment. Okay, if I do that, that'll put pink there. I have to stop and make my paintbrush less pink. For the people in chat who have just recently joined, I have both a Discord and my Instagram for this, so you can get more direct notifications, and you'll be able to see the chat that I was having with Zarona earlier when we were talking about all of the setup that I've been hyper-focusing on, and you can see that I now have a ring of blue around. It's like a purple, but it looks like blue on camera. No, it looks like purple on camera. It is purple, and then I have a light and a diffuser here, my DSLR here, my palette camera over here, and then a key light for the painting, which was very fun to work out because I am really happy with how pretty the stream is looking at the moment. Because you can't be an art streamer without a pretty stream. No, I'm kidding. I just like cinematography. I'm gonna have to clean this palette soon because I keep picking up pieces of old paint and it's making it very hard to keep a clear consistency. It's very hard not to be annoyed by the fact that the canvas is coming through, especially because I did so many layers of gouache. And if you don't know what gouache is like just kind of a base layer, and I did it and I sanded it and I did it and I sanded it so many times. Just kind of adding like really light white reflections around the cup here to give it the glow vibe in a more artistic way that is absolutely not in the reference in any way, shape or form, but is really, really cute, I think. I just gotta make sure that I don't have too much white on my brush when I do it because it absolutely just will wreck the vibe. Am I in front of this? A little bit. There we go. Wow, chat, I might actually finish this painting today. After months of work, the painting might almost be over. Will the perfectionism end here? That kind of had the vibe of, for those in chat who know what I'm talking about, Total Drama Island. And I do think that maybe I should switch my streaming style to Total Drama Island-esque. Just kind of embody that one presenter the whole time. I feel like if I deepen my voice slightly, I can get that like really high-pitched whiny voice that he has. That drove me nuts as a kid, but had me fully engaged in the show. And if that's how that voice actor sounds, I'm gonna sound so terrible. But I do think it's part of the character, so I think it's okay that I said that. I'm just trying to put these yellows back in that I had before because I don't want the canvas texture, but I do want the rainbow kind of elements in there. So maybe a little bit more of the actual crimson, and then I can darken it around there a little so it has that little red element that I love. And then I'll put a little bit of yellow underneath and around it. And then I'm gonna try and put on the other side so it's a bit more symmetrical. Yes. Put way too much paint on my brush there. It's so hard not to be impulsive at this stage and put too much paint on the brush. I have to add the tiniest little layers and mix in the tiniest little angles of things. Otherwise it'll destroy the painting. Yes, this is a good colour here. I just keep getting so frustrated that this like really light pink I chose to underpaint with keeps showing through, which will teach me for next time, because I hate it. I hate it so much that it keeps showing through every time I make a mistake. So next time it's gonna be, well, I know what, if I do like black, but maybe if I do blue, it'll be like I know what it is because I did trials for it, but maybe I'll do one with like a black, because this is obviously such a dark piece. So starting with the colours that I started with really didn't make sense, because it's not like light at all. But I guess that's the point of studying all of this, is that I can kind of look at it and understand all of this like underpainting stuff and why people use the colours that they use, because I only ever see artists using like yellow ochre or like neon, and I have to understand more about it, because there has to be something in between. But I do want to do a painting that starts from black, because I think that that'd be a really interesting study. See if I can try and fill in those colours starting with the really dark values on the canvas, instead of trying to pull the highlights through. I'm going to mix together this Indian red and this crimson red, because I do love this crimson, but I want it to be slightly more orange so that I can connect it a bit. Wow, I gotta fix my posture. Hopefully the shirt is hiding all of my posture issues from you guys, because truly, who has good posture in 2025 that isn't like an athlete? And even then, you know, so many athletes have terrible posture, and I'm going to use that as an excuse to justify how bad mine is. Yes, this is doing what I want it to. So this is kind of like it's obviously looks quite orange on the page. Everywhere else it's very red, but because of how red the canvas is, it looks really, really orange and yellowy. So I'm doing that intentionally to kind of, well, that was a bit too much, but I'm doing it intentionally to kind of give that candle vibe, because candles do cast quite an orange light, and it's really hard to get the energy of that kind of like light from the candle without having that orange light in it. So it's like the orange that I'm using to mix into this is like, it is literally called Indian red, so it's not even an orange at all. I can show you actually. Where is it? It's a light red, Indian red. There we go. I mean, it is brown, so it is kind of an orange, but it's just looks so much lighter than it actually is when I mix it with that crimson. And those are the only two colours that I'm painting on here, and obviously like they're mixing with the white, but it's very intentional trying to mix like these colours that are very, very red, and trying to make sure I'm looking at the actual colour that I'm seeing and not what I think I'm seeing. Yeah, I'm getting that vibrancy again, but every time I try to add the white back in, I lose it. So I'm going to have to do some more research about how to do that properly. But for now, we just do teeny tiny little scratches and try and create that lighter colour by literally filling it in so it all looks lighter. Because you can see here, right, obviously I didn't change the background colour, but maybe, but from where you guys are, you can't see actually, so thank you so much. But when I look at my computer, I can see it a lot faster. It kind of makes everything look a little lighter, because the white like next to it makes it look lighter. I don't know, colour theory is weird. It's really hard to explain. I understand it enough to be able to make things like this, but the people that can explain it are just another level. And I hope one day to be at that level, but right now my big issue is trying to lighten this bit without taking all of the luminosity away and the vibrancy. It might be titanium white time, which is scary. But you can see, if you were here since like the earlier part of the stream, that now we've gotten like later into it, it's just kind of mixing in more because the brush just keeps picking up all of the paint underneath and mixing in, and that truly is the difference between oil painting and acrylic painting, is the like starkness between how it starts and where you end up, where you have to like be so patient in between things to get super high detail. And that's why oil paintings always have like that blurred effect to them, because by the time you hit this point it does start to get like really blurry, which I love. I mean, I love how much patience I can have with it, and then I can forget about my brushes for a couple days, but if I remember just in time it'll be fine and I can clean them. Ooh, misstep. See, that's gone kind of neon orange, and I'm not sure if it's giving like chromatic aberration, like the camera took the wrong photo, or if it's giving why the fuck is there a neon orange in the middle of my painting. And I am going to document that for later, and kind of how I made it accidentally, and try and do it intentionally later on. But for right now, I'm just kind of, okay, well that's so red. This is the issue with switching between digital and traditional painting, is when I've been doing digital painting for a while, I just expect my paintbrush to stay white. But that's not how it works. It's never been how it works. And it's strange that I do that, because I did start with traditional artwork. I'm just trying to blend in these scratches a bit so it feels like they have more of an impact and they're not just like random brush strokes. They're more like a part of the glass. Which I think I'm happy with. This part, I'm like, this one corner I'm very happy with, and I think that that's because it had less paint on it beforehand. But at this point I am starting to lose my mind trying to do the same thing over and over again and then just like blending it in. But I'm gonna keep trying, because that's most of art, is trying until you've got something that you like and you can recreate. And I think that that's really inspirational. Okay. Alright, okay. I can recreate it. Very, very good. Alright, I'm going to try and blend out these little bits that I tapped on before to try and give those scratches, because as I've been saying, this cup is quite damaged in the reference. So hard to do it properly though. Okay. There we go. That's even. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys the, oh wow, that's not even facing the palette anymore. That's so funny. Close-up photo with this very, very hot camera. this way, this way. There we go. This is the close-up. That looks quite pink on camera, and now I'm realizing that I might have gone a little bit pink blind while I was doing that. Like blush blindness, but in person. And that does mean I'm gonna have to wait and do it again because I can't, like I keep losing the white highlights. But I'm closer. I'm definitely closer. Can we see that very well? I think we can. Ooh, no. But I can like zoom in and give you guys like some detail if the camera wants to focus, because it's not a manual camera at all. This is where we've been working today. You can see like the kind of yellows coming through to create that kind of rainbow effect. And I'm gonna go like this spot you can see is like getting a little red because I accidentally used the wrong thing. So we're gonna go back in and make that white, and then you can see kind of all of the effects of things. And now it's getting dark. Why are you upset? Oh my lord. There we go. You can see the details up close. This is the detail that we've gotten from the others with those tiny little table scratches. This is where we started weeks ago. Oh wow, there's white there. I have to fix that. Can you see? But yes, this is the reflections I'm talking about around the edges too, trying to make it look like that cup is glowing that you can't really see from far away. Alright, let me put you guys back here. Wow, I'm making such a funny little face trying to look at my screen there. That's so funny. It's so embarrassing, so funny. Okay, why is that keep painting red? It's gonna be the last straw. There we go. Okay. I gotta get all of the red off this brush because it keeps mixing into every single red on the painting because everything is red. And then I gotta try and find a bit that isn't too red over here. And fix this. There we go. And then this keeps ending up red, despite my endless attempts to make it not that way, but that's okay. Yes, that's okay. Just gonna add some of those kind of lines that I've been liking around the edge to give it that glow, because I think that that is something we kind of see with our eyes that you can't really get from a camera. So it gives it a bit of life. Getting my fingerprints all over it. Wow, what's that doing? Trying to pull this down a little. Yeah, that's fun. It's a fun little vibe there. To have that kind of glow. I'm gonna have to smudge that out more because I think that might be too white. I might have gone too far, chat. Yeah, my fingerprints are the artist's touch. Okay. Alright. I don't hate that. I'm trying to get these like light rings, which I'm not even sure that you guys can see. Like in fact, I'm pretty sure you can't, but I will show you up close again. Without kind of having them like blur into the background and look at like an accident. also very hard when I have like paint underneath that is very textured and refuses to kind of work with me. Okay. And this needs to be wider. Yeah, I knew that. This one needs to be wide. I'm just gonna smudge in here. Ooh. Okay. And I'm gonna wipe all of this white off as much as possible, even though it's probably not possible. And I'm gonna try and go in with my raw umber. It's transparent brown earth. Where is it? Is it in here? Ivory black, yellow, transparent brown earth. Where did I put it? Uh-oh. I can find my burnt umber. My raw umber has... it was here the whole time. That's so funny. If you guys could see that and you couldn't reply yet because it hadn't come through, I'm so sorry. There we go. And so I'm just going to paint that into these like corner bits because it's kind of gone over the edge, but with a glass like this, it doesn't... I might be making things up. It might reflect more like that. Yeah, but I think it should cut off at that edge a little. Yeah, that's what I want. Looks very realistic. Oh, I like that. That's doing what I want it to. Okay, so I'm gonna fill in those like little gaps. It's kind of giving it a smoky vibe. It kind of looks like a mistake. I'm gonna fill in those gaps with the brown. That is raw umber. Where did I put it? Here. That looks like raw umber to me. Yeah. I will need to mix it with the Payne's grey though, because it needs to be, something needs to be darker. Which one is which? This one? Yeah, okay, that should make it like the purpley black that I need. There we go. It's a little blue, but should blend in when it dries, maybe. I think it needs just more of this one actually, which has that kind of red undertone. It's so hard to explain it, but when I'm working with these colors, the undertones of them will make them stand out very differently to their kind of like equal counterpart in a different color, because if I have like a red one, it'll stand out far less than if I have a blue black, which is why I kind of in the front here I was using a lot of blue blacks. See that side's done what I want it to, but this side hasn't. Can you guys see that? Absolutely not. That's such a shame. Back you come. Here we go, do the lazy way. Oh, no, it should be this way. There we go. See this? It's kind of got that like reflection of light there. Oh, sorry. I need to look at my stream. It's got that kind of like reflection of light and then the cutoff, but on this side it's kind of just like a random weird black bit. Yeah, and then this side is actually looks like the light has been cut off by the rim of the glass. Why is my camera upset? Please stay there. Please stay there. It's just, the cable is so heavy, it's actually pulling the camera down. Right. I think it's because I just need to do that white line out in the other direction a little more. There we go. The good thing about that is it's mixing with the brown a bit, so it gets kind of more of an even application. Frustrating part here is because of all the texture, it looks like the painting has pimples. Which up close is probably the only time you'll be able to see that, but still annoying. There we go. Okay, that might be it. There's definitely some things I'd want to probably improve a bit, but I might be ready to try and work out how to sign it. And then wait 6 months and do a varnish stream. Try and blend this in a bit more. I really want to create those super smooth paintings, like the historical ones. But the more I do this, the more I realize that they were that smooth because of the fact that they were painting onto like silken fabric canvases, like, and smooth fabric. But these canvases now that they pre-gesso, they tend to be quite dark, and like quite textured. So maybe we're gonna have to learn how to do my own canvas making. I'm just trying to define the edges of this glass now. All of this work is pretty like up close and the details, so you can't really tell from where you guys are, but hopefully as I do it, it looks just like a little bit more like it's glowing in a realistic way, a little bit more coming off the page. I think the way I did this glow is really convenient because it means that, sorry, I'll talk quiet because I'm really close to you, but it means that I can do this like edgy painting and like finalizing without mucking up the blacks around it, so it's just me cheating. Yeah, I might actually have to, but I'm gonna have to do a little bit of woodworking and work out what a source canvas is. I think most professional painters do actually make their own canvases for like those exact reasons, which sucks because I absolutely don't want to do that. It's just not something I'm really interested in doing. Like, I hated gessoing this enough. But who knows, maybe I'll make like star-shaped canvases and like make things more original and interesting. I'm enjoying the glow it's starting to get, guys. starting to look like a real candle. Like, even with all the reds, you can actually see it. Very, very cool. And I put red on the side again. God damn it. Truly. I just dip into the white and I think that it's gonna stay white. Terrible, terrible behavior. One of the other things with oil painting is when people say, you know, you should never paint with just white. If you are doing an oil painting without starting with a new color literally every time you paint after waiting for it to dry, then you're never going to be painting with the color, with only the color that you put on the canvas, because the colors below will come out and like mix with your color. So it just naturally will have more dimension. Whereas if you're doing like an acrylic painting or digital art, you do have to like either lower the opacity in digital art or make sure you're coming in with the right color in like acrylic painting, because it will actually affect your art piece. Because there is no such thing as like true white when we perceive things, because something's always influenced by something else. Okay, I think that's getting that glow like I want it to. Try to add this bit of brown to the side here because I want it to give more detail for this edge bit, but then I'm finding the brown is giving it a little bit more dimension, so I am pulling that down, and this is just like the raw umber again, and kind of mixing it in because it was getting a little grey. So this is exactly what this part needed, I think, for the glow to really feel realistic. I love lens flares. I think astigmatism is really fun to paint, and I have a very slight astigmatism, but if you have to deal with astigmatism all the time, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to romanticize your disability. No, I'm not, I promise. But it is really pretty. I think they say that they theorize Van Gogh had astigmatism, and it's like you can't really theorize what someone had from their paintings because it's not how they see the world, it's how they interpret it. So that could be a topic for another stream, because this one is almost over, it seems. Usually I do just a 2-hour stream, but I am feeling like I'm so close to finishing this that I have so much motivation to keep going that I'm not getting very tired. And that might mean neglecting my boyfriend later on, but hopefully he'll forgive me for that. I'm trying to put some more darkness into the corners to make it look like there's some depth to the cup. And I think it is working, but it definitely has to have more light to it as well, because when we're losing that white, it doesn't look like the light is coming from inside the glass, which, you know, we all know it is. Okay, that's far too blue. I'm losing it a bit here, so I'm just gonna cheat. More white. I'm thinking about putting my signature because I saw it in another painting where it was like incorporated instead of being kind of a separate element. I'm thinking about putting it like through here, really tiny, maybe with a white gel pen, but I'm not sure if I use a gel pen that I can do it today. And I do want to finish it today. I love pulling these reflections through once I've been painting for a while because the way they just seamlessly blend in such a pretty way is so satisfying. Dictation. Okay, awesome. I think that's a bit light. I'm gonna get back in with my Indian red down here and try and give it that orange. I've learned well by now that looks so orange, right? But it is truly just like a dark brown. So I've learned very quickly that if I want to put things like this in, I can't use anything that is as it appears because the red will just offset it. Like you can't really see the red as much when it's there, and it'll make it seem like it's, see, that's so bright, but it's such a dark color because it is a dark painting. It stands out, and because it's a red painting, everything that's not red stands out. So I'm going to pull my Payne's grey in to kind of kill the brightness of this red and make it a little purple with that blue, because what you can do when you paint is you can use a colour that's opposite to the colour you're trying to cancel out on the colour wheel to kind of dull it down, which is what I'm doing here, because you can see the vibrancy just dropping as I add this grey in. And then I'm going to go back over the top with the raw umber, which I know is kind of like my background colour, and I'm just going to blend the edge out so it doesn't look like I just painted a different thing on top of a dry section, which is exactly what I did. Yeah. Amazing. And then I'm going to go back in with the white and just kind of, I mean, I'm going to do this side first, it seems. But I'm going to go back in with the white and I'm just going to kind of pull that reflection out again, because I am a perfectionist that can't stop, apparently. It's way too much white. So what I'm looking for here is for the white to kind of naturally blend in with the colours that I put next to it, so it does look like a reflection, because most reflections are never white. They're really just kind of like a translucent white on top of things. There we go. See, that looks really, really good. And this one I'm just going to try and... Wonderful! That might be it. for this painting, like in total now, because I think that it might be finally finished. If you're wondering what this orange thing is, it is the towel that I put on my lap when I didn't want to change my pants, and then I realized I would absolutely get pain on myself. Though seems like I've done a pretty good job. I am going to try and sign it now because I like living life on the edge. Oh, I need this to be wider. The issue is even the paintings I've done years ago that everyone else loves, I still see mistakes with, and I see like artists talk about this all the time, that it doesn't matter how good something is, you're going to see mistakes with it later on, and I just, ooh, I hate that. There we go. Okay. Alright. Maybe I'll get chat to weigh in. There are a few places that I'm thinking of putting my signature. Obviously you guys are kind of far away. I might just make it zoomed in. I'll zoom it in onto the canvas and you can see better what I'm talking about. I'm gonna have to do some angle adjusting here. Alright, it's a little dark. Is it in focus? Absolutely not. Oh, my battery's yelling at me. So we're about to lose camera, guys. I might have to call it very soon because my battery's flashing and I haven't got a dummy battery. Where are we at? 2 hour, 2 minute mark. Ooh, okay. I still have a camera for now, so I think I can change the battery. I might just change the battery. And then I can actually talk to you guys about where I'm going to put it. So you are going to lose visuals from me for a second and sound because I'm kind of far from my mic. But we will reset it. And it should be fine. Okay. Bit precarious. You can still see my little setup over here, so I can wave to you guys as I get my other battery. Oh, you guys probably didn't see that wave because it was in the background. Alright, and let me chuck this battery in. I'm gonna turn this back on. Hopefully I don't need to reset everything. Focus. Oh, I have the zebra striping on. I was wondering why that was looking terrible. You guys can see me change my camera settings now. Oh. Okay. Well, ignoring my zebra striping that I did not know was on until now and is clearly affecting the shot, and the fact that this is not tightened. There we go. Oh, that's terrible because you guys would be able to see it perfectly if my camera wasn't doing this. I'll switch to this. Okay, we'll fix it next time. But just know that those tiny little stripes you can see are absolutely my fault, and because of the zebra striping. But yes, I will move out of the way. This is what the final painting is looking like. So I have to work out where to put my signature. I'm thinking like along one of the white lines, so maybe like here or here is a good place, or like in here. But, or along the bottom line, but I think it's cooler if it's vertical. Though there might not be any opinions left in chat. Oh. And I've also made this white line terribly wide. Yes, so we will sign it next time, next stream. You can see me in like the very corner. I'm gonna move into shot so you can see me just a tiny bit and a way higher zoom than I'm used to. And I'm gonna say thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed looking at my painting, and hopefully you can tune in next time, next week. Down along the reflection. Okay, I'm gonna consider that. We might do that. But hopefully you can tune in next week for me to finish this painting and sign it, and then to start a new one. Yeah. I will find some more references, I guess. I should talk over here so you can actually hear me. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in. I will talk to you guys later, and I hope that you all have a good night or good day, depending on where you are.